Arjuna stood on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The answers he had been searching for had already been spoken. The confusion that once held him back had begun to clear, and yet he still had not acted. His mind was active, engaged, thinking, analyzing. Krishna stood beside him, watching. Arjuna spoke. Krishna, I understand your words. I see the truth in what you say. I know what must be done. But I keep thinking. I keep going over it again, trying to make sure I am completely clear, trying to remove every doubt, trying to prepare myself fully. But the more I think, the longer I remain here, without action. Krishna, is this clarity? Or am I still holding myself back? Arjuna continued. Krishna, thinking feels safe. When I think, I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like I'm progressing. I feel like I'm getting closer to the right decision. But nothing changes. The moment I stop thinking, I feel the need to act, and that brings discomfort. Because action makes everything real. Thinking allows me to stay where I am. It allows me to delay. It allows me to avoid consequence. So I keep thinking, not because I need more clarity, but because I'm not ready to act. And yet, this delay does not feel right either. Krishna, why does thinking feel like progress, even when it leads nowhere? Krishna looked at Arjuna. His voice remained steady. Arjuna, thinking has its place, but it is not meant to replace action. You have used thinking to avoid movement. You believe that more thought will bring certainty. But certainty is not created by thinking alone. There comes a point where thinking stops helping and begins to hold you back. You feel progress because the mind is active, but activity is not the same as movement. You can think endlessly and remain in the same place because thinking does not change reality. Action does. You do not grow through thought alone. You grow through what you do. Arjuna, you are not lacking understanding. You are delaying execution. Krishna continued. You believe that clarity must come before action. But this is not always true. Clarity often comes through action. The path reveals itself as you move, not before. If you wait for perfect understanding, you will never begin. Because the mind will always find another question, another doubt, another reason to wait. Action breaks this cycle. Action forces the mind to align with reality. It removes imagination and replaces it with experience. Arjuna, even an imperfect step forward is greater than endless thinking without movement, because action creates direction. Thinking without action creates delay. Stand up, not because you have all the answers, but because you have enough to begin. That is all that is required. This is where many people stay stuck. You think a lot. You plan a lot. You analyze everything, and it feels like progress. But your life does not change because thinking is comfortable. Action is not. Thinking allows you to stay in control. Action forces you into uncertainty. So you delay, you wait, you tell yourself, just a little more clarity. But clarity does not arrive like that. It builds as you move. You do not need to stop thinking completely. You need to stop relying on it. At some point, you have to act, even if it feels incomplete, even if it feels uncomfortable, because movement is what creates change, not thought. This is your Kurukshetra, and now the choice is clear. Will you keep thinking, or will you finally act?